And this is just, again, the president and the people around him are terrible liars. They're stupid. They look stupid. They're not. I'm not saying they're stupid. They look stupid when they lie the way they do. The new spokesperson at the White House told Trish Regan a couple of weeks ago that President Trump would never let the coronavirus come to the United States or terrorists. He was so great that terrorists and coronavirus were never going to come to the United States, ever. That was a couple of weeks ago. That was about the same time. Well, actually, it's probably a little bit after Peter Navarro wrote his memo. But, you know, Nico, we talk about how the president's such a bad liar, how he looks so stupid when he lies and gets caught. It's like the IG that he fired. Remember, he fired the IG, and then he's like, thinks that he got, I think it was Jonathan Karl. Oh, who do they work for? Tell us who they work for, who they work. And he actually thinks that he's going to prove something when we find out the inspector general, yes, worked through 8 years under Barack Obama. He, I guess, didn't know that the inspector general also worked 8 years under George W. Bush and had been there since 1999. That's a sort of stupidity that passes for one upsmanship in this White House and among members of Trump's. Well, you just got to say, people that would actually be convinced by that sort of logic are member of a cult now. They're not even Donald Trump supporters. These are the cult-like followers who watch him lie unconvincingly every day, saying nobody could have seen it coming, when there could be books written on the amount of people, even in his own administration, that warned him that it was coming.
Yeah. So President Trump, we talked yesterday about the president not reading, which is something we had noticed about him. He says he never saw the memos detailing a potential pandemic from his advisor, Peter Navarro. Now, this advisor he brings up on stage with him. This is one of his guys. He didn't read a memo or two really pleading with him to look at some serious threats to this country's safety. He didn't read them.
A memo, Mika,
he admits openly.
A memo where somebody in his White House, a close aide, says up to 500,000 Americans can die if the White House is not prepared for it.
Right. So the president, however, says his course of action would not have changed if he had read those memos.
The president said of the Navarro memo, I didn't read it, but I basically did what the memo said anyway. He didn't do what the memo said. He had, as you say, the restriction on travel back to the United States, not for everybody, for some people from China. What those memos, what the pandemic playbook we're talking about is the preparation that comes before that pandemic arrives, which is stocking up on PPE, getting it to the hospitals in New York City. They're going to probably need it first. Getting the country ready, being honest with the country. Part of being a cheerleader for the country is saving the lives of the people. You can stay hopeful and optimistic and speak truth to the people. But here, actually, is what President Trump was saying about coronavirus and the outbreak around the times in late January when those Navarro memos were written.
Are the words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all, and we have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China, and we have it under control. It's going to be just fine. We have a total of 15 people, and they're in a process of recovering, with some already having fully recovered. We're at that very low level, and we want to keep it that way. So we're at the low level. As they get better, we take them off the list, so that we're going to be pretty soon at only 5 people, and we could be at just 1 or 2 people over the next short period of time. And again, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to 0, that's a pretty good job we've done.
So Willie, we played 2 clips there. The first clip was a couple days before the Navarro memo, when he was probably putting it together. That was the 22nd of January. And this is where the president said, oh, no, not worried about it at all. We got one person. Soon it's going to be gone. We played the second clip because it was almost a full month after the Navarro memo. Almost a full month after Peter Navarro told Donald Trump the administration 500,000 people could die from this pandemic. We are woefully ill-equipped if we don't get what we need. 500,000 Americans could die.
And we could have gotten what we need.
And we could have gotten what we needed. Ready. We could have gotten the testing ready. We could have gotten the PPEs ready. We could have been prepared. We could have started social distancing earlier.
It was possible to save lives.
But a month later, the president says in that clip, it's 15 people. A month later, we only have 15 people, and soon it'll be down to 0. So bringing us back, because the president lies so much in these press conferences, I still, for the life of me, don't understand why the networks, including our own, allow Donald Trump to lie for 2 hours to the American people. If he were giving good information, that would be one thing.
Let us fact check them.
But it is a lie. So if this network or CNN or Fox is going to run him lying for 2 hours a night, they need a real-time fact checker. Because in this case, Willie, this was February the 26th when Donald Trump said only 15 people have it, and soon it's going to be down to 0. And of course, that's, again, almost a full month after Peter Navarro wrote his memo, a memo that Donald Trump said, oh, I believe the same thing I was doing. No, he didn't. Even a month later, he thought it was about 15 people instead of 500,000 deaths.
Yeah, and there was a second Navarro memo, by the way, right around the time of that second clip we showed, which was more dire than the first, saying we've lost a month now, here's how bad it could be now, and it was even worse than the first memo. So it's actually twice as bad, even as you're describing. I will say I think some of the networks are figuring this out and adapting. I know we come out of it, and our anchor, whoever it is that day, runs down a list of what the president just said and sort of debunks, if it needs debunking, those facts. So there is some evolution there. I think that's a good thing. And I would just ask Jonathan Lemire now, because we know...
Hold on one second. We don't need glibness when we come out of a press conference from the president, or people rolling their eyes going, oh, my God, and so he said this. They get distracted sometimes. I'm not just talking about our network, all the networks. They get distracted by the ground noise. Can you believe the president said this? Can you believe he tweeted that? No, just get the facts. Get his quotes. Get the death toll.
There you go.
Get the people in his administration that were warning him from early January. Put up his words, not your words. We don't care what you have to say. We don't care about your editorializing in April. Get his quotes. Get his words. Get his statements. Get the fact that he's trying to stop Americans from voting in the election by mail. And then get where the president says, yeah, I voted by mail because I'm allowed to do it, but you're not. That's basically what he said. I'm sorry, Willie. I'll let you go to Jonathan Lemire right now, but these can't continue unless they have a serious fact checker that cuts in while the president is lying to the American people. If he gives facts, great. I'm all for it. I said from the beginning of this, we're all in this together. I said from the beginning, I want the president to succeed because when he succeeds, we succeed and Americans don't die.
He's not
But
succeeding.
He's not succeeding. He's not trying to succeed. In fact, he's spreading misinformation. He's trying to cover up all the mistakes he's made over the past 2 months instead of looking forward, trying to save senior citizens' lives in Florida, in Arizona, in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, in North Carolina, in the only states he actually gives a damn about. Go ahead, Willie. I'm sorry.
As we've been saying all along, I would take every day, twice a day, a news conference from Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, just giving us the facts of what's going on. The president, of course, will never let that happen. That's why it's good we have people like Carol Lee, who was in the room yesterday and said, wait a minute, you voted by mail 1 month ago, and put him on the spot.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.